everyone, and welcome back to my channel for another fabulous speed build. Today, if you could not tell by the title of this video, which I'm hoping you can, I'm pretty good at my titles, even though they're a little clickbaity sometimes, I am excited to announce that we are building a Black Widow cottage in the world of Newcrest, which is a base game world. This house unfortunately uses a lot of packs. I do apologize. I kind of love doing it in the moment, but I always feel guilty afterwards, so I don't know what that really means for my own psyche, but I will be giving you guys some more limited pack builds, especially with all of these new kits and new expansion pack with the roadmap that was announced just a few days ago. If you missed it, I will link it in the description box down below, as well as the build I made inspired by the new expansion pack that we are getting, which is like a life and death, what I'm assuming is some kind of like elderly pack, which is going to be super exciting. But back to this build. So today we're doing a Black Widow cottage, like I mentioned, and for those of you who are deep in The Sims, then you know the lore behind the Black Widow challenge. But for those of you who don't, I'm going to briefly explain it to you. The Black Widow challenge is similar to many other Sims challenges in the sense that, you know, it's simified. So it starts off as this lovely little lady, almost a rags to riches style depending on how you play, and the entire goal of the challenge is to marry wealthy Sims and steal their money and unalive them. You can do this however you want. You can use mods. You don't have to use mods. You can have kids. You don't have to have kids. But you move into their mansion, you redecorate it with your own style, you know, pop it all over the place, live, laugh, love, simoleons, and you commit murders, which honestly is pretty much my regular gameplay style to a T, because I get bored and I download mods, and then next thing I know, Taylor Swift is chainsawing a zombie of herself to death in my save file. So these things happen, but I thought it would be fun with Halloween and like spooky season kind of coming in to do something kind of creepy, and this entire build was inspired by one specific object that I put in the build kind of towards the end in our little basement of doom. From the new Love Struck pack, but it's this wall decal, and it's a really random wall decal. Like when you go through the swatches, none of the swatches really have rhyme or reason to them, but they're like cute little like hearts or like a rainbow or like a love letter. And then there's this one that is really freaking creepy if you think about it. It's a bunch of Polaroids taped to a wall, and like some have hearts drawn around them, some have X's over them, and I was like, yes, this is what I need, and that is essentially what inspired this entire build. I do apologize if you can hear the rain. It is downpouring at my house right now. It is thundering and there's lightning everywhere, and the poor sweeties are both compiled under the desk. I would try to show you, but I think I would actually tear down my entire camera setup, but I apologize if you can hear that. As you can see, we're kind of working on our little graveyard of doom, if you will. These are just graves I pulled out of debug, but hopefully if you download this house or if you decide to play this challenge on your own, you would grab like real headstones, and they would actually belong to the Sims, you know, you conquer, if you will. And I went ahead and put like sweet little, like, I don't know, mementos. I know they're called something else, but I can't think of the word right now, and I'm so sorry. But I thought that was really fun. I utilized a lot of debug in this house. A lot of the stuff you saw outside the graves were either like reward items, like the sugar skulls, or the little heart plushie from Love Struck. And then I also used a lot of the wedding cake toppers from My Wedding Stories. Thank God that pack is good for something, because we all know it doesn't really work. Rude. But I thought that was like a really cute element, and it's honestly, the backyard is one of my favorite elements of the entire house. The only thing I think I like more is maybe, not even the basement of doom, because who doesn't love a basement of doom in The Sims 4? I mean, maybe people who are a little less toxic than I am, but I certainly love them, and I won't be apologizing for it. But I actually thought it would be a really fun idea, because this is a single lady, a girl boss, if you will. And what does this girl boss do if she's, you know, unaliving people? I feel like that takes a lot of work, and, you know, she's got to lure these people in, get them to fall in love, give them their credit card information, their social security number, all the things. So, you know, I imagine that this girlie must be like an entrepreneur or content creator. She definitely can't have a 9-to-5. I have a 9-to-5, and let me tell you, the amount of like voiceover I have done on my 30-minute lunch break instead of like eating, and then like proceeded to like shovel food in while working simultaneously is ridiculous. But it's a humbling experience I'm very grateful for. So I thought that this girl who lives here could be a podcaster And hear me out for a second, hear me out. I know there's a lot of toxic podcast culture out there, and I feel like every day someone is like, I'm going to start a podcast. It's like, okay, like, pop off, but like, what you talking about? And I just feel like there's a lot of different podcasts out there. I'm a podcast queen. I love that. I could not see myself starting a podcast, as I essentially already have. If you watch my speed builds and you listen to me talk so fast that I lose my train of thought, then you know that I would not be a good podcast host. But there are a lot of fun podcasts that are out there that are just for the girlies. The Murder Mystery podcast, the Hello Haze podcast, which is one of my faves, and it's really good, and it's kind of new. You should check it out. And you have, like, Call Her Daddy, like, all these things. Alex Earl's podcast, Hot Mess. Like, you've got lots of good girly girl podcasts where they're just spilling the tea about relationships specifically, and that's kind of why I mentioned those few. I imagine that the girl boss who inhabits his home has a, like, dating and relationship podcast. I don't know if it would be like one of those healthy ones where they talk about, like, being a supportive partner, learning to communicate. Doubtful. If it was manifested in my mind, she's probably a toxic queen. Or maybe they talk about, like, murder, but, like, specifically, like, relationships. I don't know, that was kind of dark. Scratch that. Or, like, maybe they just talk about, like, you know, the nasty, the woohoo, if you will. And I imagine, like, maybe she just doesn't really like her podcast host that much, but she needs, like, someone to kind of balance out her crazy, because, again, there's a graveyard in her backyard. But here we go, getting into our little podcast studio area. It's really not much, but this is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. If you include the basement, which is a jail cell, so you probably shouldn't, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Downstairs is more like a studio, if you will. But you could always turn it into a nectar cellar if you didn't want to be super awesome and totally cool and wow and use this as I intended it to. But the Black Widow Challenge is so much fun. I played it on my Twitch channel, which I have not streamed on Twitch in a long time. I know. Another shortcoming, but I've been girl bossing so hard lately. I even got a shout out in my work meeting the other day. They were like, good job, Tiana, we're not firing you this week. They did not say that, but they were like, oh, good job on this. I was like, not getting fired this week. Maybe next week. Next week's a new week, but not this week. Slay. And, you know, as someone who's a recent grad, I graduated in December from university, for those of you who don't know. And if you are about to graduate, stay strong. Don't let the senioritis take you. I went into the job market here in the States. Yeah, brutal. Way worse than you could ever think. And I don't want to talk about it too long because it honestly stresses me out. But I think one reason I'm so afraid of, like, switching careers or getting a new job or anything is, like, oh, there's my item, by the way, guys, my little heart thing. Kind of creepy. Is because I don't want to have to go back into the job market. If you were watching my channel through that era of me, and I would, like, get on and, like, try to record my voiceovers, and it was so evident that I had been crying because a recruiter just called me and was like, hey, so we loved you. We thought you were perfect, but because you did not promise us your first and second born child, we just cannot offer you this entry-level position. Sorry. And it really is like that. It's really stressful. If you know someone looking for a job or you're looking for a job, stay strong. Give them lots of love. If you see them drinking tequila, no, you didn't. First, how fitting is it that I talked over myself when I was mentioning tequila? Second of all, my game crashed, and I just want to say that I saved right before, and that never happens to me. I must just be on my shit today, guys. Okay, team, we have made it, and here is our cozy little girl boss cottage, and I really like the way the landscaping turned out. I use these little, like, debug thingies. I don't even know what they actually are, but I made these, like, kind of line paths, and it took me forever, but I think it came out so cute. And I wanted this house to have, like, a very specific, like, romantic kind of scheme. So in the landscaping, I used a lot of debug, as I said, but I used these roses from the Cottage Living debug, which is some of my favorite, mixed with just greenery, so the red really popped. And then the same when you come around back here, I put this little fence, a cow plant, because I just like the idea, like, maybe this is her little cow plant. His name is Waffles, and Waffles sometimes eat the people in her life who do her dirty. That is definitely what my sweetie dogs do. They're right over here. Hi, sweeties. They're scared of the thunder and the lightning and all that stuff. But anyway, and you come over here and you go through this little path, and ba-bam, you have our little area to remember the fallen. the fallen tributes of my podcast. But I think it came out pretty cute. Again, all of these items are debug. I do think if you download this house and played in it, your Sims might try to like pick up certain items. Like this is a candy jar from the Paranormal Stuff pack. I don't know if they'll go bad or anything, but if they do, I apologize. Oh, and of course we have a woohoo bush, because duh, why would we not? And then all of these that are planted are actually death flowers, because I just thought that was so fitting. But let's get on inside. Oh, and I'll show you the top-down view, because I know some people like to see the floor plan. Turn my grid on. So here is a top-down view of the entire house. And then, of course, we have our little basement of doom, which is a sleigh. But let's get on into it. You have this area right up here. And when you come in, you have like a semi-formal entryway with like, you know, a hook for our purses. I imagine you bring a tote when you commit murders, because it's very tactical and handy, and like it's reusable, so the planet and stuff, but that's what I imagine. Then we have our cute little kitchen. I did not put bar stools because I was really worried you wouldn't actually be able to walk through here, and I didn't like the way it looked with just two, but if you played in this house, you don't really need the two bar stools. I imagine the woman who lives here eats alone frequently and eats on her sofa. Then we have our cute little living room with the pops of purple and pink. I just love it. I don't really gravitate towards the darker colors, but I like that this feels kind of romantic and also true to like a cottage essence and vibe. I live somewhere with like a lot of craftsman style homes, and all these people, these flippers, they go in there, they buy them for like 5 cents. They put 10 cents in them with gray laminate floors, and they just destroy the character, and then they put them on the market for $1 billion. Gentrification? Hate that. Hate that. Then we have our primary bedroom, which is such a weird shape. Ooh, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. No one saw that. But I love this like deep plum color. I went through a big purple phase a few weeks ago, which I'm sure a lot of you saw, but we finally have some decent like rich plum lavender colors in the game. Thank you, Sims team. Please give me more. Give me more everything, honestly. I'm always looking for more stuff. But I thought it was cute. There's like a little reading nook, and then we have our hall bathroom, nothing special. And then, of course, we have our podcast studio. I sized out these microphones. I don't know if they work, but like, if you move objects, these, oop, just kidding. You can probably like, I feel like they probably still work, because the animation you kind of just do over it, I don't know though. Let me know. I did not play test this house. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. But then you go downstairs into our little area. We have some supplies to keep our victims and subdue them. I don't know. And then I put this little cabinet of potions from Realm of Magic, because I thought it would be fun if maybe she's trying to make a love potion to like find the perfect person, or maybe that's what the podcast is about, like herbal remedies to like improve your aura. My friend Caroline always tells me, she's like, Tiana, like, you're a very strong personality. She means it as a compliment. She's like, but you're not like, you don't just like exude feminine energy. I don't really know what the hell that means, but that's what she says. If anyone can give me a play-by-play, let me know. Then this little thing right here is so creepy, is it not? But like, look at the swatches of this thing. They make no sense. Like, they're all like fun little wall decals, and then like psychopath. So I put that in here, and these are like how she keeps track. And maybe she sits down here like really creepy and listens to music. Maybe like the Katy Perry Sweet Treat album from The Sims 3, while her partner, can you call them a partner? Victim? Hostage? I don't know. Is asleep, but they have some nice digs, you know. They have a mini fridge and a sink and like a spider web. I don't know. But I think that's pretty cute, and that's pretty much the whole house. It is small, but it is like a fun little storyline build, especially with spooky season coming up. This might be a little like too spooky in my opinion, because I have a deep fear of being like, I don't know, kidnapped and everything that could come along with that. But like, I'm also paranoid, a lot of anxiety. I watch a lot of true crime documentaries, and I probably should stick to Avatar: The Last Airbender. But anyway, that is the end of our video. This house is available on the gallery, which is, as always, in the description box down below. If you enjoy it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you have some good ideas for some more spooky kind of builds as we get a little closer to Halloween, I would love to hear them. I love a good storyline. I like a good budget. I like a good pack limitation. And I love lore, spicy tea, drama. And again, if you have not already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. You know I love when you do that. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.